If this doesn't get blocked. I can't believe this. Okay. Well, I'm not surprised. I've got worse in my dental health. I'm not surprised. I sought clarification 4 weeks ago of the policy for in United Kingdom, in my area, for disabled people who have complexity illnesses on top of their dental health. This infection has got into my glands, into my immune system. So, the email went off today to NHS Healthcare Foundation Trust. Again, they call it Patient Experience Department, PALS, whatever. But anyway, sought clarification on the home visit policy. Well, I've never had a home visit, but it's limited what dentists can do in your own home. And the concern with our complexity physical disabilities too. Means if there's a decision by a public servant in the job role to refer me to a NHS that's struggling, to a mainstream hospital, means I won't get the physical help I need. In my personal, very personal washing and dressing, that kind of thing as well, again, like it happened last year to me. I've emailed again, reluctantly, to try and engage, and it's hard work to do this. To the last email, I have been updated since all the national media and local media to Voiceability. They have an area office in my area, UK. The service manager never got back to me. The last email I sent to update them to confirm I'm so unwell. I've never been so ill. I've a lot of bedbound, and today again, I got an injury last night. When I get a physical injury, an accident, it attacks my immune system. My immune system seems to get weak straight away for some reason. Okay. So I sought clarification on if there is anything still. There's nothing on the website on Northamptonshire County Council, public sector side. They call it prevention. I can't remember, there's so many departments, there's so many, I don't know what's going on now. But anyway, I sought clarification of an email. This is my struggle in UK. I'm going public because I don't know how many other people are going through what I'm going through. So I sought clarification, 12:30 today. No, sorry, 12:30 Monday, the 26th of February 2018. To Voiceability National, meant to be like advocate, employee to help people in my situation, whatever the subject might be. And this was about Statute Law Care Act 2014. Well, in the eyes of certain public sector services and employees, if a man or woman in the situation is deemed vulnerable, and if you look at that, you can investigate more in their situation, everyone's different, then there was no reply to this email to seek informing them the circumstances, my circumstances, I'm extremely unwell, to said to offer a meeting, initial meeting at least. And this has been going on, unfortunately, for too long. I don't like it. And I sought clarification on data sharing too for a while now. It's all because when I ended up last year in hospital, the failure of NHS, this particular public funded hospital employees, refusal to make a referral for me. And they call it first point of access. Well, the department itself, what it's known as First for Wellbeing, is now no longer, just rebranded differently, set up systems different now. So I only found about all this out. I got home from hospital and everything was all planned to do. And I had to push for an advocacy. And I found out it's not independent. But now I know they're all in it together. They call it partnership working. Okay, so email went off to a particular public servant, short-term rebenefit team, department, south or north. There's so many people. Just really, anyone in my situation struggles to know who's doing what and how. So I didn't get a response either about updating on that particular day to inform the public servants that and her line manager that my circumstances, I'm too weak to actually consent to a meeting, let alone my home, let alone anywhere else. I've had my door fixed since then. So I was hoping my dental health and my immune system would be stable. And I had no email and no letter to say they've closed the referral done. I did not like calling them up when I got out of hospital. I was so weak in the first place, and the negligence came in by a certain public servant at a certain hospital, deliberately. Only if I stayed in hospital and did a full assessment, well, no, the private life arrangements at the time was that my friends were trying to help. Now, the email went off to another public servant today, Michelle. She works in the, she's a complaints employee. Well, in statute law. I do not like. I went through all the lawful due processes in 2013-14. Well, things have come to a head where the particular care company at the time, employees, I'm sure they've just moved around. But anyway, the concern was I was too ill to meet up with the offer of this Michelle woman. And I emailed her to say, look, I'm struggling with my health as it is, but I would like to seek clarification. Your email was the final response about failure to uphold the inappropriate, they call it a safeguard referral, and that was done inappropriately without my consent with incorrect information back 2017. Previous video about that's on this channel. Anyway, I'm trying to move on and trying to engage and trying to work with very difficult circumstances I'm going through. And seeking clarification at the same time, not digging at the past, because that's happened, but trying to deal with now and move forward and work with people. It's with the state system, you know, and it's hard work. Without the state system, the way they work, and it's all linked up, housing especially, no matter who I try to seek assistance from, in the public sector side, in UK, in one's area, they all share your data, and it's a voice video, thanks for listening. It's not a very good video today, I'm proud to say. It's just a bit of a fractal situation in reality. So from my life experience and what's going on recently, and especially today, and I laughed about it yesterday, about certain things, but it's not funny in reality. When you struggle, your immune system, your health, and there isn't the public sector services about, because they're all struggling themselves. So I like to self-care as far as I can possibly be, but I did not get asked to get ill. No, we never do we? And I didn't expect to get one over. I didn't expect to get reduction in one's health. So I messaged my sister in Wales, because she does her best in a limited situation, but she's not in my area. And if I had a pot of gold, I wouldn't be here today. I'd be in a natural, healing, kind of environment better than the state system, you know, because I know what's going on in the bigger picture, but there's not much I could do about that. So reality check is that I have tried, reluctantly, against all my better judgment, because I do meet the criteria to access what's known, excuse me, in what's called Care Act 2014 to initial assessment. And that, unfortunately, when these key men and women, or women, whoever they might be, step inside my home, they will see the major. I do not like this constant assumptions being made about one's private life and character by men and women that don't know me. It's not my fault my wet room stopped repaired for 9 months. It's this Home Group Limited employees. It's known as a Peterborough office, okay? Employees. Guy called David, right? 2 males are behind this, by the way. Just 2 men, employees, are blocking my choice. I offered to move out last year for 3 weeks before I got so ill. And that's why I'm getting so ill. Because all the mould, all the water floorboards is getting to my lungs. And it's making me very, very poorly. I have gone through the amount of processes to get a remedy for all of this for so long. And now I'll come to this today. So yeah, the first thing a public servant we do, doesn't matter who you contact now, will look at a situation like I, man or woman, but a similar situation like I, whether it's medical, i.e. NHS, housing, whether it's the adult, they call it adult social care, but it's not quite called that now, it's all these new buzzwords, okay? We'll look at my environment and we'll deem that is a health and well, I know it's a health and safety nightmare, it's a risk, yeah. But in their eyes, what they will do, I don't know about all this already, they will say, that's why my bags are still packed, by the way. Rush you out into an environment, you could be anywhere. And you don't get a choice, by the way, because it's all private. And we'll hear about it in mainstream media if you're in the UK. How the sell-off of the NHS, the care system, the council, public funding, everything is all going to private hands. It's deliberate. So I know all this. So, how does one cope? You know? That's a tall order. You can only take one thing at a time. Say, I think I multitasked today. And trying 3 angles, really, I suppose. So the voice message on this female voice advocate, total, it's like a advocacy service female, to say, well, why did you not respond to my last email to update you that I'm in so very ill with a viral infection? Well, it's now a dental immune system thing. And the only way, excuse me, would be for these dentists or are in their system can only assess you and then refer you for tests in hospital, because you need certain IVs and IV type, whatever they do. I've never had that system where my immune system was shut down so bad for all the years of the damage by mainstream dentists, but now the damage is done. See, so last year was a referral to get the specialist. Well, it's not specialist, it's maxillofacial they call it, department, at least to see a consultant. But because I had to put it on hold because of this wet room disrepair housing, yeah. But I got messed about for months about that, and I still am. And that's why I've not been able to see that specialist. And how can I get the accommodation here sorted out and have a major operation and recovery? Impossible. So I come to a point now where the door's done, so I've got the door relock done, finally. but now it's affected my health in such a state for the past 4 months. I have sought clarification to inform relevant people in their job role to let me know why I have not been able to consent to such and such and such to assist me in the current initial care assessment. And then the problem I've got is a private arrangement for a period of time now, is that because I had to step in to save to stop me being abused physically by certain females, public servants, carers. I've got all the evidence that's coming out my ears, and the key very public servants in one's area, certain things that went on. I'm not going to dig it all up again. Well, I was hoping to move forward with certain people and look at things afresh now. And unfortunately, if I had a pot of gold, I'd be going private, paying for things privately myself in many areas. But I'm not in that position, not that thousands of people in the UK. So the failures of the NHS, circumstances, the breach of equality, duty of care is still there. And when it went quiet, with no response since the 26th of February 2018 to the emails, I thought, well, I'd go in at April, so we're now looking about, I'm just looking at the notes I made. So we're now looking at 8 weeks delay to get back to an email. Why is that 8 weeks delay and no response? And then when the mainstream media is saying there's all these redesigning of services in a massive new public building going on across the road and certain departments, well, obviously someone behind the scenes that made a decision on the assumption, again, that a voice ability, the contract and procurement works with the County Council, Adult Social Services Limited. It's all redesigned the way they're working now, and key employees are protected by the terms and conditions of their employee status. But the public, like I, are not. So how the partnership works now, you've got a mainstream side, every town and city, and especially my area, you've got NHS. So you've got the community side, i.e. Doctors, surgeries. You got the NHS Foundation, that's like your community services, dental services side of things, specialist dental side, from like people myself and circumstances like mine, and other similar type services. Then you got the hospital mainstream, like the larger environments, to all like surgeries, operations like that. So, and then you got the pharmacy side, which is NHS England nationally funds the pharmaceutical, big pharma, so medications. Again, today's changed again. Now, the first time my experience today was seeking clarification on these side effects and the concerns I got of years on certain types of medications, and some of them are not helping, especially with this guy said on the phone today, chemist, pharmacist, and it isn't meant well, that I could have a vitamin, what's it called, vitamin D deficiency, not getting enough vitamin D. I'm not surprised, and suggested a couple of points. Get I have to make a note what you were. Oh yeah, here we go. About 12:30 today. He said to me, do I have carers? I said I have my friends trying to care for me and they're struggling. And I told him it's just, if I get offered a home visit by, excuse me, again, a doctor, they could, like, for example, would it be a doctor or would it be a district nurse? I don't know, but the suggestion would go through the symptoms of the side effects of my illnesses and what could be suggested. He was trying to imply that reduce these medications and have some blood tests for certain illnesses, disabilities one's had for years. And it's unfortunate that side effects are being run over, and anyone's gone through similar experiences, you get ill and things happen and your body reacts a certain way. So it doesn't help when you write off to a certain doctor, publicly funded, and question the side effects of medications, and you get a label because of that. And that was last year. So here we are now. The suggestion on the phone today by this pharmacist was to, I was seeking, well, do I get a medication? I've not seen a public servant, which is time, in my opinion, in the medical side. So the first protocol is a general practitioner, i.e. in statute law, that's like public funded mainstream doctor. They're not nutritionists, they're not hepatic, they're just mainstream NHS funded. And that's all they are. So I have this dilemma now. I know about what's going on in other subjects, but I'm also stuck in the state system in one's position. I've not got my health to be off the grid and just go and walk somewhere and go and find a holistic doctor, so to speak, services. I've not got the independent funding to go into a private environment to get all the care and real compassionate support and care, physically, everything I need to care for now. And that's the way, unfortunately, a lot of people are in. So now you're dealing with another subject where you're in a similar situation and you've got the financial element, like the state system are deliberately, not just me, all this, by the way, I'm sure there's other people going through the same. There is the system where the benefit system, you're too ill to work, so you're looked upon as a burden. I know, it's just unreal. It's just like, it's just total unlawful. But that's how they look upon you. You're meant to be, all that used to be like inclusiveness and equality and all these lovely buzzwords about your God-given rights, your lawful rights, it's all going out the window. It's all going out the window for control, for computer systems, for the mainstream pharmaceutical, for everything mainstream state control in United Kingdom. And I can only quote on that. That is where somebody out there, if you found your way around this and you know you're waking up to certain subjects, but you're in a similar situation, I've not come across anybody like this just yet, hence why I'm doing this type of stream. I have a lot of family don't know certain subjects I do, so they can only have their opinion on the mainstream side. I have certain public servants and certain individuals might watch a stream and they too might know of certain subjects, but their job's at risk, so in the public sector, so they cannot really speak out about anything, and they might have personal views, but they don't make it public, and they can only follow statute law. So there you have it. I've been left in the loop, and today was meant to be a day for medical goods and services by, like my other stream was about 13 emails in 2 days. Well, it's resulted in no delivery of a service today. No delivery. And yet, all around me, where I am, it's all able-bodied people, and nobody like me in my situation. And you got a few retired, about 4 retired people where I live, able-bodied. But yet, I do not see any more, when the limited time when I have been out, my health hasn't been as bad, taking photos of the weather, I haven't seen anyone in my situation out and about. Where are they all? Disabled people, complex illnesses, where are they all? Are they harped off into a day centre somewhere? If so, how they access that? How they access funding for that? Have they been assessed correctly? Have they been able to, their circumstances, access support, to access to care, housing, NHS services, mainstream side of things? Who knows? But I, observing and personally experiencing the lack of everything. It's not by choice, by the way. And when people say to me, oh, you can phone that number, well, when I tried and I struggled with ill health, there is a lack of consideration. So, yeah, it's a bit odd, isn't it, when I do the effort, the last email, to let them know that I'm ill and this is such and such, or I don't need to, there's no obligation, but as a courtesy, I'll do so. But I don't get a response, and it's 8 weeks now. So today, the email my friend sent for me to the public sector, they call it county council, but it's all set up in business as a company, public funded company. And they work with the public, by the way, these employees. Got nothing against them, they're just not doing their job, and they're making assumption. And I don't know how many case falls they got on similar circumstances with people like I do not know. But the way that the top directors are getting the pay deals and being investigated by the public funding over 100 grand for ex-director, and redundancy on top he's got, and so many similar positions like that, and they're crumbling the public sector services of people like I and so many others out there are experiencing at the hands of it all. So that has a negative impact on other services on top. You hear about people waiting in hospitals for beds when they're medically fit to go, but there's no care system, there's nothing for them, and there's no housing. And that's UK in reality. So there is, I don't know what it's like. I don't know how people cope when there isn't such a system, public sector services out there, and you have to pay for it. How do you cope? Do you have family support? Do you have friends around you? What about those that got the health, but they find themselves with no jobs and no homes, are homeless? How do they cope? So, from observations, not just personally, excuse me, again, I find the stretch to the limit. Now, why is this going on? We're in 2018, United Kingdom. It's meant to be a wealthy country. Where's all this public funding really going? In the hands of private corporations for profit. So, public is paying for public services through taxation and so forth. Voluntary taxation, council taxes, but yet where are you seeing? Where's anyone seeing the services? I'm sure I'm not the only one, by the way. But yeah, my personal circumstances is that I know for a fact that how people know each other and how a friend of mine saw a certain individual advocate being too friendly, observing the body language and certain things of a certain individual the other day in the public street. And it's so surprising I didn't get a response from an email. When you observe things and find things out. So the last part, I'll keep this short. There's Michelle, and she's just a complaints officer in this particular public sector company funded department. She didn't even bother to acknowledge or have the training before in disability reasonable adjustments, Equality Act, let alone all the statute laws, all the protections that's meant to support disabled people, whatever type of disability you have. So you've got all these so-called charities set up, but you look at the waiting list for support. You look at the phone lines. If you can't talk and you're struggling to email and you've got other types of illnesses, where's the support for people? That's what I've observed and experiencing also. So my friend emailed, as I said, 11:45 today. And also that Michelle, the last email my friend sent for me to her to seek clarification, 12th for the 2nd, 2018, 3 months on, no response to my friend's email on my behalf, and I'm so ill to inform her that I have not been able to see a certain public servant on subject of the care side of her service, if there is any of services. Because don't forget, blocking my data and disinformation being held about my situation also. Still, even though it was corrected before and fully rebutted what happened last year, and it's in my previous video, it's 2017. So you would have thought that this public servant, also known as Michelle, for Northamptonshire Adult Social Services Limited in the UK, she said, could I meet you to discuss? Well, when you have a disabled man or woman with complex illnesses, don't they have training to realise they need to offer an alternative? So use technology like a video calling, use Skype calling to talk to somebody online, so you don't physically have to go somewhere if you've got bedbound or illnesses, disabilities. The same for like care assessments, you would have thought. Do a Skype call or something like that, or a video conference by video app, Google app or something, you know, an alternative format using technology that way. No, they haven't thought of that. And my mate put it in an email before, beginning of January as well, about that. So yeah, the negligence originally was from the hospital not doing the correct referrals and the correct procedures in the first place, and I ended up there last September. The negligence on the housing affected my health, and now it's led to all this, all these months on. So yes, if I had the repairs done, my health could have been in a better state. I could have engaged long time ago by certain public servants. So yeah, unfortunately the negligence is on the housing company employees, especially key two ones. I won't say who they are, not one to name and shame. I'd love to, but I'm not there. It's not my character to do that. But I know we are at the end times. Your spiritual, it is. Your physical body, it might be completely worn out now. My spiritual energy is not, obviously. And there's other subjects I know. So from my experience and other subjects I know of over the years, it's now finding all this out in a nutshell, once and for all. The state does have the control and monopoly on everything now. And if you're ever fortunate enough to know Roman law and how to claim your live birth given name, that's a different subject of the day. I did make a video ages ago about all that, but I no longer study all that because my health isn't in that situation. So I leave it up to others to do all that. And so yeah, I'm not one not to engage when it's lawful and honourable for certain offer services in the public sector in UK. The thing is, there's an auto assumption where the state wants to control your damn life. And it goes not just care, housing, NHS, it goes wider than that. And areas, you could not believe when my friend looked up this pharmaceutical company where they're based. Who's the manufacturer of a new drug? Well, it's not a new drug, it's just a cheaper drug. Everything's cut back to the bone. Even drugs, chemical drugs. So it's important, yes, for immune system, natural health, food-wise, non-GOM, etc., etc. And when you're dealing with mainstream state system and their employees, they may not be clued up what half of us are waking up out there, and be aware of the targeting. Please be aware of the subject of targeting of individuals that are waking up. You need to play down what you know. From personal experience, this is first-hand knowledge. It's not advice, it's just experience. You need to play down what you know. Be extremely careful what you post online. The censorship is here. You are going to be monitored. You're going to be observed in your behaviour, your body language, how you react to people. You are absolutely going to have that. They will use your neighbours to observe, and if you're interacting, like as I said, excuse me, so the calls you make, if you've got a recording app to get that, if you make a call, if you're able to a public sector service employee, because they record your calls. It's like with any company other than public funded. They record your calls, monitoring purposes, yeah, okay, so do the same. If you're speaking to somebody, just advise them, if you don't mind, I'm recording the call for my own personal use. And they reject it, then you just end the call and just do an email. So, just to cover yourself, when you're in, it's all over mainstream media again yesterday, you're in a hospital setting, and you've got complexity, illnesses, disabilities, be aware. You're monitored, you'll be watched, and how you interact or speak if you can. But when it comes on the experience of being in a maxillofacial type of ward, for dental, head and neck they call it, they do not care at all by your physical reduction in your health. Don't forget if you've got psychological distresses. So if you learn about meditation in your own way to cope with those situations, it takes time, it really does, but spiritually within oneself, knowing it's your physical body that they're dealing with, and they don't have the real experience to deal with your spiritual well-being, you know, your inner well-being. Your mind, body and soul is meant to be connected. They don't see it that way. They see your physical surrounding, your physical body, and that's it. It's meant to be all connected. But that's not the state. They don't want it like that. They want you to be treated like a robot. And you're not. But in their eyes, you are. And all due respect to those on the low level pay record and the level of these public sector employee roles throughout UK, especially my area, half of them are just doing their job. There's no excuse, but they've got protection of unions they pay membership for. They don't give a monkeys if you're not getting the right services. They're not going to be personally held accountable. And those higher up that's got their hand in the till and having their handshake, thank you very much, golden handshake of the public purse, goodbyes, yeah, they're not going to be held accountable or taking 100 grand of the public purse that could help somebody in my situation. No. So that's been proven again yesterday. For example, they call it a borough council, okay? And what, a public purse over, I don't know how much a contract was for, but it's quite a lot, the public purse, and that's gone missing. A former public servant nationally, called it House of Commons MP, he made a deal, it's all public knowledge, 2015-16. He made a deal, he only got in his position as Conservative MP because he made a deal, made sure a football club, a certain owner of the football club had public funding to help it along. So yesterday I heard by a source that that will never be recovered. And yet the public, ordinary men and women who are struggling and they've got the health to put food on the table, their families, their kids, they're struggling like hell. And then you've got the state system with the universal credit screwing them over, messing them about, people like me. So it's not just one situation, not just one group of classification of people, there's a multitude. So when my friend saw today all these certain type of nice cars going along, and it's all like a different type, it should not be a class divide, but it's a different class divide going on. Not one, there could be unseen disabilities, yeah, could be, but not one physical disabled individual was going into that building today. And my friend was observing while she was trying to wait around and help facilitate delivery. That didn't happen today. Again. So it makes you wonder, are they hiding, like going back in history, hiding people with less abilities, less health, disabilities, into a system where they're seen, not heard kind of thing, like in the Victorian era before the NHS. I'm not knocking NHS or any public services per se. It's just, it's all privatisation now. The state, we've embedded with private corporations, international corporations, and they've sold off the public building opposite. They built it knowing they're going to sell it off. And all these private companies are going in there already, you know, setting up the deals. So unless you got, like America, different areas, you know, perhaps the systems, I don't know how it works, but I can only go from my experience, and I don't know if it's postcode lottery in other towns or cities, United Kingdom, who are also experiencing this. Do you think two councils, unity councils, is going to work? You're going to see more reductions in offer services, goods and services, yeah? So, unfortunately, not a very good video. I didn't say it's going to be a very positive, real video. It's a factual video, how, from my experiences, from what I know, what I'm trying to do. Well, the commercialism is there, the profit making is there, but not for the ordinary man or woman, and not for people in my situation. We're all trying to survive any way we can, and you're very fortunate if you have network around you. As I said, be careful about the targeting. You can investigate that in a different subject another time if you want. I'm not going to go into it all, how it works. I'm just observing about it. But I've tried to engage honourably and lawfully, without added labels, without added assumption, but I'm not the one that's been negative. I'm not the one that's been negligent. It's opposite. And found the emails, as I said, lack of response. knowing the fact that I'm so ill. And if you're so ill, oh my gosh, how can you function? And it's just finding a good day or half a day or half a moment or so to find that energy, like, to make the stream. So you public servants out there, you might check this video out. You know exactly who I am. And I've always been honourable and always been lawful and respectful. But where's the mutual respect? Where's your training, you know? Where's your training in observing not just the people how they speak, but your behaviours, your actions tell. Don't need to put it into words. It just shows a lot. That you only care about your situation. You put the pressure on vulnerable people and people with complex illnesses to conform to your state system. No, you're meant to meet them mutually in the middle and put your skills to the best of your ability as an individual in your job role, because the public's paying your wages. So, thank you. Gotta go.